Live streaming. Okay. We are live now, and we'll see just waiting a little bit just to get a few people to come in, and اوكي. اسعد الله مساءكم جميعا، يعطيكم الف عافيه، وان شاء الله الجميع يكونوا بالف خير. نحن مع نقل مباشر من سيدني مع السيدة مريم والسيدة جورجينا والسيد دارم police officer and the sheriff from بانكستاون. خلينا نستقبل جميعا السيدة مريم، تعرفينا عن حضرتك. تفضلي سيدة مريم، فيك تستلمي انت الميكروفون وساعتها بندخل نحن مستر دارم جوال. اوكي it's yours.
شكرا مصطفى. انا راح احكي شوي بالانجليزي شوي بالعربي. اسمي my name is Mariam Murad. I'm the Chief Executive Officer of Bangstown Women's Health Centre and Fairfield Women's Health Service. We deliver health and well-being services to women in our community. Now, in this today, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Mustafa for giving us the opportunity to speak to the community in relation to the latest COVID-19 health advice from the New South Wales government. We all are together in this pandemic and during this unprecedented times, and we need to work together as a community to really work alongside each other to support each other to be able to move across with the pandemic. So as members of this of the New South Wales community, regardless of our ethnicity or background, it is in our hands to get out of this lockdown. We simply need to be following the latest health advice, which is very clear. So as we all know, the restrictions for the lockdown has been extended for another week until Friday, July the 16th. It was announced by the Premier of New South Wales that it will be extended till Friday, 16th of July, as I mentioned. The health advice is very, very clear. The current health advice is as follows. Everyone living in the Greater Sydney, Blue Mountains, Shell Harbour, Central Coast and Wollongong must stay at home until midnight on July 16th. فإذا مثل أنا هحكيهم بالعربي، فمثل ما حكيت بالإنجليزي راح ترجمون إنه اللوك داون was extended. هحكيهم برجع بالإنجليزي. متمدد لنهار الجمعة 16 تموز which is جمعة الجاي. السبب بهيك لأنه نحن بالوقت الحاضر عم نتعامل مع الدلتا فاريانت of the coronavirus يلي هو بينتشر بشكل سريع جدا جدا. وفي الحالات عم بتزيد بنيو ساوث ويلز. هلا في 3 مناطق البريمير ذكرت بالبريس كونفرنس اللي صار مع من يومين. 3 مناطق ال3 كونسلز كانتربري بانكستاون LGA فيرفيلد LGA and ليفربول LGA عندنا اكثر حالات of the coronavirus. فنحن لازم as a community نشتغل مع بعض لحتى نلحق directives from New South Wales Health لنقدر نطلع منها اللوك داون. هلا مثل ما قلت we must all stay home until midnight 16th of July. We can only leave our homes for the following reasons. فينا نترك البيت كرمال هاو الشغلات. Shopping for food or other essential goods and services. يعني إذا بدنا نجيب أكل نروح عند الحكيم أو في شغلات لازم ضرورية نعملها. Medical care, providing care for someone else, including having a COVID test. إذا بدنا نعمل COVID test فينا كمان نترك بيوتنا. الميديكال كذا بنروح على الدكتور كمان. إذا بدنا نعمل الفاكسين كمان فينا نطلع من البيت. Essential work or education where you can't work or study from home. فإذا لازم إذا في واحد يدرس ويشتغل من البيت خلينا بالبيت. إذا المركز مثلا أعطيكم مثلا نحن مركز صحي هون للنساء، المركز الموظفين موجودين، في عندنا تباعد اجتماعي، في كلنا لابسين ماسك لأنه لازم نلحق الهيلث ادفايس. إذا بدنا نعمل اكسرسايز برا بالهواء الطلق، الجروب لازم يكون أقل من 10، ما فينا نعمل ما في يكون في أكثر من 10 أشخاص عم يعملوا الاكسرسايز. الماسكس لازم إذا نحن موجودين إندو بقلب البيوت بقلب الشوبينج سنتر كمان الماسكس لازم كلنا نلبسها. إذا أي حدا عنده أي slightest symptoms، إذا في أي slightest symptoms of the COVID-19 please get tested straight away. أعطيكم مثال، أنا نهار الاثنين الثلاثة حسيت هيك زلاعيمة شوي وعندي شوية حسيت في شوية برد، رحت عملت التيست. ولما بتعملوا التيست لما بتنطروا التيست ل 24 أو 48 ساعة ممنوع بدكم تعملوا isolation بالبيت، بدكم تضلكم بالبيت لحتى تطلع النتيجة نيجاتيف. الشغله الثانيه اللي كمان الهيلث ادفانس. تفضل.
Okay, Mr. Darren is still waiting. We don't want him to wait too much. We can get him in. You can introduce him, please.
عندنا اليوم في عندنا Chief Inspector from the Bانكستاون Police Station will be joining us. We also will be joined by Georgina Zainuddin, who's also the Multicultural Liaison Officer at Bانكستاون Police. So thank you both for taking the time to come on live stream and talk to the community about some of the restrictions. Because in New South Wales, there's a big police operation to make sure that the current restrictions are implemented and we're all COVID safe. Now, we shouldn't have visitors. Another thing I want to talk about is if we're to have visitors, we shouldn't have any visitors in our homes unless it's for caring reasons. What it means is that if you are caring for your eldest parent, like your mother or father, you can come to the home if you're the primary carer on your own. It's only one visitor at one time. We understand that this is hard, but we can't visit families and friends right now. I haven't been able to visit my family. I'm keeping COVID safe. I'm only staying home, coming to my work, and following health advice. We can all, in this time, we can all use social media, phone, video calls to stay in touch with our loved ones. It is so important that we all stay home unless it's absolutely essential to leave the house. Now I've got Chief Inspector Darren Beach and the Multicultural Liaison Officer Georgina. Do you want to talk to us a little bit about the police operation in New South Wales in relation to the current restrictions for the coronavirus?
Thanks, ma'am. Am I coming through okay?
Yes, you're okay, sir.
Okay, that's good. So today and probably for next week, we're going to have a lot of police out there in the community, and I'll just say straight out, it's about educating the community and working together with our community to save lives, to be safe, and it's probably that simple. So what we're trying to get the message out there, or the message we're trying to get out there, is that if people just comply with the rules that have been put in place, very shortly we hope to be back to where we were, only a short time ago, where we were all living our lives effectively normally. So we want people just to dig in and obey the restrictions, put up with the inconvenience for a short time, and then hopefully we'll get back to business. For us, we don't. It's not about an us and them. The police are part of the community. Only yesterday, I heard it. I listened to the story of one of the men I work with. He caught COVID. He was extremely sick, but his father-in-law caught it. Him and he died.
Oh, wow.
So that's ultimately what we're trying to stop. And one of the biggest sources of infection is people going around to having house parties or going around to people's places and passing it on. And if we can stop that, then we hopefully put this thing to bed.
Thank you. We appreciate your help.
Yeah. Just on that, Darren, I just want to clarify something for the community as well, from a community perspective. I'm going to speak in relation to Canterbury, Bانكستاون area, or Southwest Sydney. I think we've got there was 100 extra 100 police officers that were deployed to assist in this big operation to basically make sure that everyone's compliant. I want to clarify that this is the directive from the New South Wales government. It's the directive that it's out of the police. It's out of the police organisation's hand. It's a directive from the government to do that. So, and in saying that, we've had a track record and history to working really well alongside the police officers. So I just want to assure the community, as you said, Darren, that the police is there to protect the community. The police it's not us and them. It's basically that we in this together as a community, and that's. So I just wanted to clarify. That there, because there was a little bit of a sense of people a bit unhappy about, are we targeted as a community? We're not targeted as a community. And as I said, the police got a clear directive from the New South Wales government to do this operation.
Yeah, Mariam, look, I'll just say on top of that it's been today. I've spoken to a number of the police involved, a number of the team leaders, and it's been an extremely positive day, just a day of very positive interactions. And I spoke to one police officer who doesn't work in the Southwest region, and he was really taken back by how friendly people are. He said, I've been offered coffee, I've been offered morning tea. It doesn't happen where I come from. I said, and that's what people don't understand about this community. It is really friendly. All you have to do is be a decent human being, and people are really friendly. And I think that maybe surprises some people. So look, I don't see this police operation as being targeted or being negative in any way. I see it as a real opportunity for the police to interact with the community, to help and to educate the people, and from that, hopefully, we can get more compliance with the laws around this COVID thing, and hopefully not for too much longer. We get back to normality.
Yeah. Can I also thank you for that, Darren? And can I also take this opportunity to thank Georgina, because Georgina's been absolutely amazing and instrumental in all that relationship, as a multicultural liaison officer, that really facilitates that really good relationship between the community and the police force. You've been my support, the community support. So I want to thank you for that. And yes, this is a very kind community. This is a very generous community. Welcome to Auckland, Darren. We basically, as a multicultural community, we usually force food down people's throat. Do we not, Georgina? We do that.
We
all
do.
the time.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. Mustafa, thank you for the opportunity to come on. I will speak a little bit in Arabic, and I'll do a little bit in English as well. Exactly what everybody's been saying in this meeting. It's about not an us and them. It's about us. We need to start talking about everybody as a community, because the longer if we don't do anything about it, the longer the whole community has to stay in lockdown, unfortunately. And sometimes you need to make those sacrifices. And yes, we so understand that it's hard not to turn up to mum and dad's for the barbecue on the weekend. But you know what? Sacrifice 2 weekends and then you'll be able to move on and have your daily barbecue every other day. So it's really important. يعني نحن لازم نفهم إنه هن مش عم يعملوا هالشيء مع الcommunity لأنه they've got nothing else to do. They're doing it because they want to keep all of the community, كل الcommunity safe. وما ناخذها إنه هن عم يحطوا حاطين علينا لأنه نحن عرب أو نحن from Southwest Sydney. لا بس للأسف الstatistics اللي هن معتمدين عليهم عم بتبين لهم إنه in this particular region, in this particular LGA, unfortunately, there is a larger proportion of the community which have this issue. So we are, as a community, as an organisation, we are trying to get on the front foot so that we collectively, as New South Wales residents, can go on with life prior to this lockdown 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. كمان أنا بوافق جورجينا exactly the same. I'll voice exactly, I'll photocopy exactly what Georgina said and or copy and paste more to the point. Yeah, we are all one in this community and to work together. We need to work together to really get out of where we are in. And I have a lot of faith in our community. I'm for one when I went to Bانكستاون when the lockdown had happened. There was hardly anybody in the streets, and people who were in the shopping centres, I had to go to the bank. Everyone was in masks. So I'm really proud to be part of this community. And yes, maybe the statistics in terms of testing is not too high, but we together, and that's Georgina and I and, you know, Darren and Mustafa and all of us work together to really relay the message. The other thing,
can I tell you something? Sorry, I just got back I went outside today. And I was in the Bankstown area. I don't want to name. I still saw some people that didn't have a mask on. I approached them with them on, you know, you really need to be wearing a mask. That person got very aggressive and angry. That how dare I say that? So, and if people are saying it to you, you have an option. There's always عندكم حالين. يعني إذا بدك تعمل المشكل وتكبرها. But if the person is being polite and عم يعطيك نصيحة, ما في لزوم لحتى أنت تكون aggressive. And this is exactly what happens with police, Merriman. I know you're going to touch on it. That when police are stopping you, if they're asking you in a friendly manner, وعم يحكوا معكم بتهذيب، ما تلزم أنت تتلأمن عليهم، إنه بالنهاية عبد مأمور وعم يعمل شغله.
But that's exactly what I said من قبل. قلت البوليس لما حطوا في 100 بوليس جديد ليعملوا هيدي العملية الكبيرة للكوفيد 19 مش البوليس قال والله أنا you know what ما عندي كتير فري تايم بدي أشتغل هيك. No, it was something like هيدا كانت التعليمات اجت من حكيم من الولايه ما خص نحن مثل ما قلتي عبد المأمور البوليس العبد المأمور فهن ومش راح يعملوا هيك اذا نحن بنفكر من اول وايف اللي كانت عندنا للكورونا ما عملوا هالقد بس هيدا اللي نحن الفاريانت دلتا فاريانت اللي نحن عم نتعامل معه كثير بينتشر بشكل سريع جدا 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 لازم نكون نحن كثير لاحقين التعليمات اللي بتجينا لنقدر مثل ما اجل نقدر نطلع من هاللوك داون before. The other thing while we on that بدي انا احكي حاعمل rights and responsibilities when we deal with the police because we as citizens have rights and responsibilities. I'm going to go through a list. The police can fine you, arrest you if you breach the new COVID-19 laws, and the COVID-19 laws are very clear. Stay home unless you're an essential service. Stay home. You can't visit someone in their residence. You can't. There's lots of stuff we can't do that everybody's talked about. But the police must tell you why they're stopping you and searching you or arresting you. So this is your responsibility. This is your right. Another responsibility: ask police for the name and police station. Tell the police if you're 17 or younger. During any incident with the police, ask the police to turn on their body-worn video and have someone film from a distance. If the police wants to search you, can you please be compliant? You can say to them, I don't agree being searched, but can you please cooperate with the search? If the police ask you any questions, tell them your name and you say, I don't wish to discuss anything further. See, this is your right as well. If you, the police may ask you to provide ID, something illegal is found or being found arrested. You don't need to provide an ID unless something is illegal found with you or being fined or arrested. If you sustain any injuries from the police conduct, go to the doctor as soon as possible, take photos and get legal advice. So we have rights and we have responsibilities. نحن عندنا واجبات مع كcitizen وعندنا حقوق as well. So yeah, if you want to add anything to that, please do.
Yeah, so Miriam, first I think it's important for people to realise searching and questioning and whatever is not part of this COVID operation. That sort of interaction generally follows suspicious behaviour around drugs or property or other criminal sort of behaviour. So that should not be the expectation of the community. You know, when dealing with the police or expectations of the police that are there to enforce the COVID rules. And look, I'll say, for police, I've been a police officer for 35 years now, and the way we police now, police are given a lot of training. In most of the time, it's recorded on their own video. If it's not recorded on their own video, it's recorded on someone else's video. Yeah, it's drummed into police to be a decent human being, to treat people well. If it's not, there's corrective sanctions, and we do it many times a day, and or to the great extent, it's without issue. And you know what, being nice to people makes your job a lot easier, and most police actually realise that. There's different ways to get things done, and as most people, particularly police, realise, being talking to people as you like to be talked to often gets things done.
Of course.
Miriam, just to translate that, what Mr. Beach has said in Arabic is, and he's absolutely 100%. الهدف من هيدي الكومبلاينس اللي عم يعملوه بالساوث ويست سيدني مش ليوقفوا العالم ويفتشوهم. إذا عم يعملوا شيء مش عم يلتزموا بالقوانين، يعني لابسين الفيس ماسك بس يكونوا برا، إذا في تجمعات من الناس، يعني هون صار عندهم البوليس الصلاحية لحتى يسألوك وليش عم تعمل هيك. وبرحب بقول للمشاهدين مصطفى انه اوكي، اذا حدا من البوالصة اجى ووقفكم، اذا انتم ما بتوافقوا بالرأي ما تعملوا مشكل، خذوا للضابط وروحوا شرعوهم بالمحكمة. يعني بعد عندك الفرصة لحتى if you don't agree with what's happening تاخذها to court. اوكي يعني مش رح يقولوا لك بالساعة ساعتها إذا أنت ليش منك لابسة ماسك وتقولي له أنا حرة ما بدي ألبسها. طيب ما هو كمان بده يعمل شغله. طيب إذا أنت مش عم تعطيه سبب مقنع أو legitimate for why، يعني he's doing his job، رح يعطيك الضابط. هلا إذا أنت برضه مصر إنه هذا الشيء ظلم ومنه مزبوط، that's okay، ما تقعد تتشارع أنت وياهم وتكبر كلام، لأنه رح تكبر القصة بدون لزوم. خلص خذ الضابط. thank you very much. بس تجي وقتك عندك the opportunity على اي ضابط اللي بيجيك هون بنيو ساوث ويلز، اذا منك موافق عليه بتاخذهم على المحكمه.
مزبوط. نحن في مسألة بدنا نوضحها من بعد إذن الجميع. Please excuse me everybody, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, we have to respect the police. They doing their own job. يعني also all religions, they encourage people to listen to the government, respect the police, and look after ourselves. Because if you give a life for one person, you give a life for everybody, for all people. That's what it said in Arabic. يعني إذا أنت من أحيا النفس كمن أحيا الناس جميعا. يعني if you don't care about yourself, you should stay away from these people, from the public. yes, stay home, don't go out. There is some people, they're looking forward not to just stay home. اهم شيء انه نحن نحترم الاخرين. اذا انت ما بدك تحط الماسك، في قانون برا بالشارع، انت بدكش تلتزم فيه، ما تلتزم بس، ولكن ممكن تاخذ غرامه، وهالغرامه انت من دون مشكل مثل ما تفضلتي وحكيتي، من دون ما يعمل مشكل الواحد قادر يرجع يعمل ابيل او يروح على المحكمه، على الكورت او اي شيء. بس اهم شيء نحن نعرف انه هولي يعني الدكتور is like the police. Those in the front, they fighting just for our life. مش بس لحياتهم هن، يعني هن معرضين because they mixing with the people. They gathering from here, from there. They left the family at home. They got kids. They got family. They stay like over time. We have to appreciate these people. It's not give them hard time. No, that's the only way we can say.
مثل ما حكينا بالاول مصطفى انه we all one، يعني مثل ما قلتي جورجينا، نحن كلنا واحد، بدنا نشتغل. We are in a really strange and unprecedented times here, and we need to work as one to really overcome this. We are in a crisis. We are in like a global pandemic, so we need that police officer will have a family. They're people like us. They're not like they're not there to make our life harder. They're there to protect the community. That's how I see it.
And that's exactly right. These people that you interact with، هذا الناس اللي بتشوفوهم اللي لابسين اليونيفورم وحاملين الابوينتمنتس تبعولهم، they have a family to go back to. يعني هن عندهم اولاد وعندهم اهل بدهم يرجعوا لهم. نحن يعني دوامنا كثير طويل، وبدي ارجع انا باك على بيتي لاولادي، بس الفرق انه as police نحن بدنا نختلط مع كل العالم. But you as in your own personal capacity you can make that decision. مثل ما تفضلت وحكيت مصطفى، إذا ما بدك تلتزم بالقوانين that's your right، هذا حقك. بس كمان إذا كمشت ومش عم تلتزم بدك كمان في نتيجة لهالخيار اللي أخذته، وإذا هو غرام بدك تتقبله، لأن أنت عملت هاد choice. You chose not to be compliant.
That's exactly right. I might touch a little bit on the visiting stuff. Just a little bit of where we can visit. A person is authorized to visit a place of residence for any of the following reasons: to engage in work, for childcare, to assist someone moving from one place to another, to in an emergency situation, to avoid injury or illness or escape risk of harm. And in particular, this is about escaping domestic violence. I need to flag that because in the current times, in crisis, usually domestic violence, as we all know, it escalates. It takes a different ugly face that we need to work with. And the other thing that I really wanted to talk about as well, you can view and inspect a real estate property for sale or for lease. So إذا حدا بده يشتري ولا يستأجر بيت as well. The other important one as well that I wanted to mention, also you can visit providing contact services between children and their parents in case there's court orders for these kids who aren't living with the parents and they have contact with the parents. So you can do that. The other thing that I wanted to mention as well, you are also allowed to visit a place of residence, but only no more than one person at a time. One visitor at a time, to full carers' responsibilities, and to provide care and assistance, including personal care to a vulnerable person. So if someone's with a disability and you need to provide them with a service, but one visitor at a time.
يعني واحد بس شخص واحد ممكن يزور الأهل، بس إذا حدا عنده إعاقة أو أي شيء للمساعدة أو يطبخ له، ما ياخذ الأولاد والعائلة والفاميلي كلها ليروح عند بيو أو لعند أمه لحتى يساعدهم. بس هالشخص شيء ضروري، يعني إذا أمه أو بيو عندهم بالبيت أكل يكفي على يومين، ما يروح لعندهم كل يوم، يروح بعد يومين. ما يعني حاول قد ما فيه يختصر الانخراط او الجاذرينج.
So that's منيح نعرف كرمال شوفي، لانه في a lot of confusion. There's a lot of confusion in the community about what people can and can't do, and because things move very quickly and we get health advice changes very quickly, it's important to, if you're not sure, ring the police up and ask these questions. I'm aware that most police stations have a multicultural liaison officer like Georgina, and they can have, you can ring and get advice on what you can and can't do. Am I giving you too much work, Georgina, now? Yes. Oh, yes.
Thanks for the load up.
And for you too as well, Darren. Yeah, more work for you guys. Well, you
and
look,
we're happy to have those conversations. We are more than happy to take questions, and if we don't have an answer, we're not saying we have all the answers.
Yes.
But if we don't, we can make the necessary inquiries on the behalf of somebody else. It's very important for us to know that we are working and living in times which we need to learn to be adaptable. We need to be able to change very quickly. As you said, you go to bed and you understand that these restrictions, the next day we could have more cases or less cases and the rules change. It's our responsibility as community members living in this LGA or living in New South Wales that we inform ourselves and educate ourselves of what our responsibilities are. Willful ignorance is not an excuse.
Yeah, but in particular in some of the multicultural communities, we gotta appreciate there's an added layer to people accessing information. For one, I'm in the health space, but I keep getting, sometimes it gets a bit overwhelming. Georgina, when you get all these new advices and new stuff, so you really got to be on the top of it. So if you're not sure, please ring the relevant organizations. We in Bangstown Women's Health Centre are happy to help and support the whole community in knowing, what they can and can't do. And I think the police as well. There's lots of other organisations that are essential organisations that are also open to and ready for answers. And as Georgina said, if we're not sure about something, we will take some time and get back to you about what can be, what's allowed and what's not allowed.
The fantastic thing about living in Australia in such a multicultural society is I'm making the assumption that some people can't read their own native language as well. But if you can read it, surely somebody can. You can get whatever the information is translated into language or audio.
Absolutely. Yeah,
so يعني إذا ما بتعرفوا تقروا إنجليزي ما فينا نستعملها هيدي حجة إنه أنا ما بعرف لا. فيك تشوفي في بكل اللغات، يعني عايشين ببلد متنوع الكوتشز وفي عندك طريقة لتحصل على المعلومات، بس أنت بدك تسعى لأنت تنمي حالك وتخلي everybody around you safe.
Yeah, I think we've covered most of the stuff. Yeah.
Okay, wanna try just we need just to somebody if they wanna ask questions. From the social media, because we are live now from YouTube and Facebook, and if anyone got a questions or they can send questions at WhatsApp or any questions about today, just sorry this questions for Mr. Darren. How far from home as like they can travel, say half an hour or 20 kilometers or 10 for something like you don't need it, like if you don't mind.
Again, Mustafa, it comes back to having that reasonable excuse that Mariam read out earlier.
Yeah.
So if you've got that reasonable excuse, then I think in most cases the distance, if you're in Greater Sydney, doesn't matter unless it's specified otherwise.
Okay. What about if someone you try to do test, but because it's too many people around, say my area, Roselands, and I want to just avoid that queue, I want to go to a different area and I want to do the test in other side of the whatever the area. Am I allowed to do that, or now I have to stay in my area?
So if you're talking about taking a COVID test, I wouldn't see any issues in relation to doing that. Oh, that's quite a legitimate reason to be out there if you're going out to get a test. And I believe you got a test today. Is that?
Yes, I got it. Actually, me and my family too.
Yeah. So that's a very legitimate reason to be out, and like a very good thing to be doing. So thanks for setting a good example. That's good.
Okay. We just try to explain in Arabic for the people. سألت سؤال أنا مستر دارين عن إنه إذا واحد قال حتى لو بده ياخذ الطعم وراح لمنطقة مثلا، قال أنا منطقة روزلاند في سيارات كثير وعجقة وما بدي أنطر، بدي أروح أنا different area وبعيد من هون، لحتى لي هونيك ما في ناس زيادة، أنا ممكن دغري بأسرع وقت أخذ الفحص أو التست أو أي شيء، ما في excuse. لا. You have to stay in your area. That's correct, Mr. Darin. Thank you. Okay, Mariam, do you have anything else if you want to say something?
No, unless Darren and Georgina have any last thoughts, I'm all good. The health advice is pretty clear. Stay home until midnight, 16th of July, and just keep on updating yourself on the current situation and the current changing advice. Have you got anything?
Look, it's easy enough. If we did this before, we've proven as a New South Wales, as a community, we are able to do it. We have stood shoulder by shoulder, okay, and we acted as we should be acting. And just remember, the longer we remain complacent or not do what we have to, it's in our hands as a community, New South Wales community, how quickly we come out of lockdown. And if you have any questions, anything you need further clarification with, we're more than happy to take those calls, Mariam.
And can I also say, just to echo what Georgina's saying, it is quite simple. The advice is stay home. Only go out for essential services such as food. Even the doctor, if you could do telehealth, do telehealth. Unless it's really, really necessary, just stay home. It's as simple as that, because it is. We're dealing with a pretty fast.
Okay. We got questions in the screen now from Mr. Ali.
Mr. Beach, Inspector Beach will address that for you, Mustafa. Now we can see the question up here, and he'll address it.
Okay. So the question is, what if you have an underlying
medical condition
and the rest of the questions disappeared?
And if you can't wear a mask, what do you do?
So what if you have an underlying medical condition and you can't wear a mask? Well, in that case, you need to have an exemption signed by a doctor. So basically, go to a doctor and get an exemption. Now, we've had a lot of questions. Can the police demand that you produce your exemption? Well, number one, why wouldn't you want to anyway? But technically, you don't have to. But in that case, if the police suspect that you don't have one, they can write you an infringement notice, and then you have to go to the bother of going to court and producing your certificate. So getting back to, it's easier just to produce your certificate and the police will say, yep, fine, thank you very much, on your way.
And it's very important, if you do have an underlying medical condition, do you really want to be out in the community at the moment with such a easily transmittable variant of the COVID virus? You are putting yourself at more risk, and you already have underlying health issues. And if you don't need to be out there, stay at home.
Okay. Can you explain or translate in Arabic the questions coming in English, if you don't mind? Georgina, yeah, please.
The question that was asked, السؤال اللي سألوه لإنسبكتور بيتش هو إذا الشخص عنده مشاكل صحية وما بيقدر يلبس الماسك، يعني شو في يعمل؟ والأفضل إنه إذا already عندك مشاكل صحية أصلاً ما تحاول ما تتجول هلأ مبدئياً، لأنه دلتا فاريانت من هيدا الكوفيد يعني كتير معدية. يعني أنت لصالحك تضلك بالبيت لتحافظ على سلامتك أنت أولاً، أوكي؟ وثانيا مثل ما قال انسبكتور بيتش انه مبدئيا البوليس ما فيهم يجبروك بالساعه ساعتها تعطيهم الميديكال سيرتيفيكت، بس يعني الافضل اذا بتكون حملها معك وبتفرجيها حتى ما يضطروا يعملوا لك ضابط، واذا عملوا لك اياه للضابط ساعتها انت بدك تاخذها على المحكمه لحتى تثبت براءتك. السؤال الثاني what if I'm in the same car of a work colleague traveling to work? Sir?
Mask.
Yeah, you should wear your mask. And that's why you'll see the police when they're driving around with other police. That's why we wear a mask, because we have to.
يعني إذا الواحد السيء بنفس السيارة مع زميله من الشغل وعم يروح على الشغل، شو القوانين؟ القوانين إنه لازم تكون حاطط ماسك، خصوصي لأنه أنتم من 2 different households، أوكي؟ وحتى القانون تغير إنه نحن بس نكون بقلب الشغل here at Bankstown Police all day بنكون لابسين الماسك unless we're eating or drinking.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Same ruling. It's the same. It's an enclosed area. Same rulings, and they're not in the same household. You're right, Georgina. Good stuff.
Okay.
Any more questions?
No.
Really.
Have you got any more questions, Mustafa? Or that's it?
Well, so far I'm checking now my WhatsApp. Maybe we got something, but definitely we can get later. If you just Georgina and Mariam, please, and Sir, just keep following the video after live, because too many questions coming later on, and that's good. We got like a feeder to just feed the people with good information.
And مصطفى إذا عندهم أسئلة، إذا بتعود تبعت لنا إياهم الأسئلة بعود بنحضر لك لهم responses وبعطيك إياهم في next opportunity، بس أنت تطلع live again بتعطي الأجوبة live إذا بتحب.
Oh, beautiful, very good.
Okay.
And Mustafa, هلا عندك سرام Georgina. You've got Georgina's number. You've got Chief Inspector Darren Beach's number too.
Thank you.
So if there's anything, this is your channel, because you basically, in the community with the community. So if there's anything, you've got the direct, contact.
This is community studio for all communities, all multicultural community. Anything you want, broadcast message to all communities in Australia. I'm more than happy to help. It's no charge, just the God will they give us, inshallah, for this award at the Second Life. That's what we're doing at the moment.
Thank you so much for your time, Mustafa. And on behalf of our police officers, I think, sir, we like to take these opportunities to have positive engagements with our community. And if you feel that, you've been, hard done by, or حدا يعني ما كان عادل معكم، اتصلوا فينا. We can talk it through and see what some of your options are. There was a question that came up, Mustafa, we just missed it.
About the barbers.
Why
non-essential businesses open, others not? It's the ruling.
Look, that's probably a question for the government, and I can't answer that, unfortunately. But,
that's why actually I avoided because it's not our life now for this kind of question. You know what I mean?
And on a funny note, مصطفى ما نكون قاعدين بالبيت. You're living قاعدين بالبيت، ليش بدكم تظبطوا شعراتكم يعني؟ You don't go to a party, so you don't need to get your hair cut.
Yeah, that's right. خليك بشعراتكم خنافيس.
I'm trying actually to give a chance to my wife to give me a haircut. It's easy for me.
You know what? And all you need to do, if you're desperate for a haircut, if you're desperate, comply with the current health restrictions that are happening now, and we will come out of this sooner rather than later.
Yes, that's correct.
Exactly correct. If we work together, we all in this together. Any final thoughts, or we all good now?
Okay, almost we reach 44 minutes and 45 minutes now. If you want to continue, more than welcome, or you want to say thank you very much, everybody. Nice to meet you, everybody in the studio.
Likewise, any questions, bring them our way.
Can I thank Chief Inspector Darren and Georgina for their participation. I know how busy you guys are. I know I've been on the phone on and off to Georgina all morning. I know how busy with this operation. So I want to thank you for your valuable time. It's always a pleasure working with a local commander, so the local PAT. So I thank you for taking the time out to speak to us and to the community. It's really good to see that. Thank you.
Pleasure.
And thank you, Mustafa, for really opening the channel to the community, because otherwise this is how we're going to have to communicate. Because a lot of people...
Thank
you for making us a part of the conversation. Thank you for giving us the opportunity. Mustafa, thank you for your organisation. Mariam, that's an amazing job that you do as a community champion. We'd like to thank you for making us a part of the conversation, because New South Wales Police is part of the community.
That's exactly.
We can say in Arabic, شكرا لكم Georgina, شكرا Mr. Darren, and thank you Mr. Darren. اثنيناتكم سوا، انتوا الأطباء والدكاترة بالأمام، انتوا اثنيناتكم المعرضين. You both, you, the police and the doctor, in the front of the wall. They like in the front, always any disease or any virus comes to us, you got it first, because you, the public.
Give it to us.
Thank you very much for what you're doing. We appreciate. We should help you and actually not to give you a hard time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mary.
All right, we'll see you later.
Thank you, Mustafa.
No worries, thank you. See you later. Lovely meeting you, Darren. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Guys.
Is that it, Darren? We're still. Is that it? We're done.